Welcome to Module 5 of the Fish and People Education Resource. In previous modules, we looked at the biology of the planktonic larvae that develop when reef creatures spawn. We saw how the larval biology of each species affects how far they can travel across the ocean and what this means for populations of marine animals under fishing pressure. This educational series was called Fish and People for a good reason. Because people love to eat fish. But perhaps a better reason for the name is because people in the Pacific world need to eat fish. In our first module, we asked the question, is there a problem in paradise? And the answer was yes. Increased fishing pressure has caused fish stocks to decline worldwide. So what will happen in a world with fewer fish? Well, some large countries with land and resources will farm fish. And many people will have to eat other sources of protein. But what will Pacific Island nations with more limited access to land and resources do? The short answer is that sustainable management of coastal marine resources is the most direct and important measure an island nation can take to ensure food for the future. This is because sustainably managed fisheries renew themselves and return year after year. But if people catch lots of fish in an unsustainable way, it may be profitable in the short term, but it also makes the problem much worse in the long term. People in Melanesia never needed to manage fisheries in the past, because malaria, other diseases, and warfare kept human populations far below the densities that would impact on subsistence fisheries. Before the 20th century, the abundance of food was far in excess of people's food needs. But since the early to mid-20th century, improved healthcare and the decline of warfare has led to a rapid increase in human populations, along with increasing market demand for fisheries resources. This combination of factors has led to something that nobody expected: overfishing. Because overfishing has not happened in the past, there are no established systems or traditions to deal with it. To conserve marine resources for the benefit of everyone, science-based environmental management systems need to be incorporated into existing traditions and institutions. For example, taboos and marine tenures are a traditional way of managing resources. But in an era of increased human population pressure and technological advances, they need to evolve. Traditionally, the duration of taboos was set by events on a cultural calendar. For taboos to conserve marine resources now, their design needs to reflect what we know about the biology and status of a species and the reality of the pressure it faces from human fishing. In this series, we laid out the building blocks of a modern, knowledge-based approach to marine resource management. So let's summarise the important concepts we have covered in these modules, and which need to be considered for the sustainable management of Melanesian marine resources.
If fisheries have combined science blow, local knowledge blow, all man blow, mi fala, I think by to work together with them, science blow arqua, by more best or him understanding blow me. I think him now the system where by imi Pacific Islands being followed, by imi save keeping more things blow me in order.
In Module 1, we learned that scientific methods could be used to monitor the number of individuals of a population. In turn, this information can be used to manage the health of that population. In particular, it allows us to reliably know the status of a population over time, i.e., its trend, whether it is increasing or decreasing. In Module 2, we explored the life cycles of species and how much of what is important to the survival of marine species is hidden from us in the secret world of larvae in the plankton. This in turn allowed us to understand how larval dispersal spreads species around the ocean and why we need to protect populations of adult so that enough individuals complete their life cycle to continue the species. In Module 3, we looked at the mechanics of how to make more fish. We discovered that the detail of the life cycle of each species is different, and that the best way to manage fish, turtle, clams, trochus and dugong for the future is by understanding the particular needs of their biology. To demonstrate this kind of thinking, we showed how both a minimum and maximum size limit can be used to make sure that more fish spawn more often, increasing the productive food resources available to everyone. Only by understanding the biology of a species can we make wise decisions about its and our survival. Finally, in Module 4, we studied the life history of larvae in detail and discovered how some larvae can travel further than others, and how species with larvae that can travel a long way have a better chance of recovering from overfishing, while species with short-lived larvae will take longer. While none of these ideas are hard to understand, many of them are hard to see. In a sense, studying the biology of species can tell us the conditions a taboo should apply. Sensible, science-based guidelines for the size and number of fish that are removed can ensure a population can rebuild quickly and eventually provide more fish than before. Overfishing is a global problem. Populations of fish and other marine animals are disappearing all over the world. Fortunately, the Solomon Islands and Papua New Guinea still have coral reefs and fish populations that are in good condition. And because agricultural resources are still plentiful, for most people, food security is high.
Well, currently, you're all aware that in the Solomons we have a ban on bitsy demand. This was on an assessment that we did in 2004. We did 7 of the 9 provinces in the country, and it comes to from the assessment that that fishery, if it's not carefully controlled, it will be wiped out. So that is the one that is still in place. The next one is, like, you will know that there are some years in the past with the live reef fish trade going on in here, and they targeted the spawning aggregation sites. Okay? And so those are the 2 fisheries that I think are very vulnerable. Marine protected area benefits the fisheries in a sense that there is a spillover effect in the marine protected area to the nearby communities. You will see this happening from our experience in Choiseul. We protected some of the critical sites, like spawning aggregation sites. And you will see that the people in the nearby community come and tell us, oh, the last time we didn't have that kind of fish in here. Now we're having them back again. And that's the most challenging question that people ask. What are the benefits of marine protected area? And when we approach it in the terms of food security, the people embrace it, and they would like to participate and join in the marine protected area. From my experience, once we started one, there's another village, another community would like to have theirs as well.
Here are our key messages. The best way to make more marine resources is to act now to stop destructive fishing practices. Allow fish populations to increase. Set rules to let species complete their life cycle. And to protect important spawners. Changes in fish populations are not controlled by spirit. They are controlled by people. The choice of whether we allow fish populations to decline to the point of no return, or to be maintained at levels where they continue to provide food and cash for present and future generations, is ours to make, and we have the knowledge to make this choice wisely.
Me like Empo, everyone must continue educating yourself, doing you put to yourself or something. Not just sit down back and waiting for somebody. Put him focus below you, go ahead or something. No, just sit down and relaxing yourself. You too, you work. You may run work together, and by me I keep him country below me and resource below me for good for future below me everyone.